Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
Train strike continues. Daily loss due to strike, 12 million rupees. Farmers in desperate situation due to fertilizer shortage. Trade unions charge that 2018 budget introduces a new tax on the EPF. Sri Lanka wins first ODI against India.
Newsfirst Christmas Centre at Echelon Square.
Newsfirst Christmas Centre at Echelon Square.
Bringing you the news like no one else does. That's what we do, and this is Newsfirst coming to you live from the Echelon Square. This is the Newsfirst Christmas zone that you're witnessing right now. And we've been here for about a week now, and it feels like we're building up for something that's far greater. If you haven't already got down here, you need to come quickly. You need to get down here as fast as you can, because things are building up, things are picking up, and you can witness a live news bulletin right here at the Echelon Square. So get down here as fast as you can. We've got, we have voice recordings, we have screen tests being done here, so you can come and perhaps, if you're lucky, you can even be a part of the news. And now let's head on to the news. Back to you, Ramesh.
Thank you, Shan. Well, good evening to all our viewers tuned in. This is Primetime News coming to you live from the Newsfirst Christmas Centre located here at the Echelon Square. We start off tonight's news with some great news. That is, Sri Lanka clinched an emphatic 7-wicket win in the low-scoring first ODI against India.
Daily train turns over 350. Train turns today 9. Loss due to strike over 12 million rupees. Gazette notification issued declaring railways an essential service. Workers who do not report to their stations within 24 hours to be regarded as those who have vacated their posts. Strike action continues, defying Gazette.
Welcome back to the news. Well, the railway trade union action continued for a third day today. The Railways Department announced today that those who do not report to work within 24 hours after receiving official notice will be considered as individuals who have vacated their posts.
Commuters have been highly inconvenienced due to the railway trade union action launch, citing a number of issues, including salary anomalies. We're severely inconvenienced due to the lack of trains for a number of days.
Sri Lanka's state sector is in a sorry state. I came here to travel to Colombo to buy clothes for Christmas, but there is no way to do that. First the doctors go on strike, now it's the trains.
The Railways Department noted that they have informed employees to report to work today. Commercial Superintendent of Railways N.J. Indipulage noted that they would gather details of employees who do not report to work tomorrow and take appropriate action. He added that employees have been informed in writing to report back to work through all relevant section chiefs.
They threatened us. They said they are facing a situation where they are unable to operate the trains which are in operation now. We call on the Prime Minister or the President to intervene and grant us our demands. This is not a large pay rise that we are asking for. Grant us our demands. This strike will bring the entire country to a standstill. We have taken steps to inform these developments to the International Labour Organization, and we are also taking steps to file a case against this. There is no point in warning us. We are warning the officials. Very soon your actions in this regard could result in the country losing the GSP Plus concessions. We apologize to the public for the inconvenience caused due to this strike. We will recall all engine drivers who are employed on a contract basis. I believe that by Monday or Tuesday we will have about 50 trains in operation. I believe by that time we will be able to restore the office train service. Most likely the students of individuals who are on strike are sitting for the O-level exam as well. By making this an essential service, certain regulations come into effect. We will take this department forward with the people that we have.
Now you heard varying views being expressed about this trade union action. This is what Vasanta Samarasinghe, convener of the Voice Against Corruption, had to say.
Provide solutions to the issues that have been highlighted by these railway trade unions. The ministers who are delaying making these decisions are the same people who call for the services of an air ambulance to travel overseas for medication at the taxpayers' expense. When they want vehicles, they put supplementary estimates. However, when workers demand for their rights and make reasonable requests, they react in a very lethargic manner. We wonder if they feel the pulse of the people. Else, they would not act in such manner. Nimal Siripal's pulse does not feel the issues faced by the common man. His only concern is the number of contracts he can get. In other countries, if a train stops for one day, the minister resigns. However, for the past 3 days, trains are not in operation. The minister will travel in his vehicle while the public suffers out on the road. The minister is preparing to go back home. We are of the stance that speedy solutions should be provided for these issues.
Farmlands are beginning to recover after the severe drought. After 5 failed seasons, there was hope until the shortage of fertilizer.
I have brought with me something that is even more valuable now than the ivory gems found in the tusks of the Dalaputwa. I had to conceal it and bring it in secret. I found this with much difficulty. It was like mining for gemstones. This is urea. All the little children should take a look at this. Finding urea fertilizer has become a very difficult task. I had to conceal it and bring it here because the farmers would tear me limb from limb to get a hold of this urea. The government is only calling for tenders now to bring down the fertilizer, and this tender is riddled with irregularities. This is where they get their commissions. The private sector and the government have failed to ensure that there is enough fertilizer. Who will accept the responsibility for this? We say to Duminda Disanayaka and the others, the Ministry of Agriculture is paying 24.5 million rupees a month for an empty building, but they haven't been able to give the farmers the fertilizer they need.
Well, we at News First have been following this fertilizer shortage over the past couple of days. With further developments, we now cross over live to the News First Center in Colombo too, where Nadim Majid is standing by. Nadim, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Ramesh. Well, as you can see, the image behind me depicts a paddy field. This image was taken recently. In the Rajarata in the east, these paddy fields are currently a sea of green. After 5 failed monsoon seasons, farmers have finally been able to plant. But they've been met by another obstacle, this time the shortage of fertilizer. These young green shoots need fertilizer in order to ripen and in order to yield the rice that feeds this country. Today we received a report from Ampara, and we sent a News First crew with a group of farmers to visit one of the storage facilities. This is what they encountered.
We are joined by Nihal Wanyarache and Anand Rajapaksa. We invited them on short notice to join us here. How did this sudden shortage of fertilizer arise? This is the problem. After waiting for 4 seasons without cultivating, we prepared for a successful 2017-2018 Maha season. We held the seasonal meetings and we informed all the officials to ensure that the fertilizer is provided on time. It has been 15 days since we planted and we have not received the required fertilizer. This is very damaging to our crops. If the fertilizer is not used at the correct time, the yield will be low. I am the secretary of the National United Farmers Organization. I made calls to 10 other districts and they are all facing similar issues. Is it true that there is no fertilizer in the storage facilities? In the past, we were aware of how much fertilizer would be needed, and the farmers' organizations would bring it to our storage facilities 10 days beforehand, and it would be distributed in a timely manner. There is no such program at present, so we do not receive any fertilizer. Even if we go to the shops, there is no fertilizer to purchase. We ask that these facilities be restored to us as in the past.
What you just witnessed was two farmers from the Rajangane region who visited the Christmas Center, the Newsfirst Christmas Center in Colombo. We invited them on short notice and they came down and shared their thoughts with us. Earlier on I mentioned that we sent a Newsfirst crew to Ampara to visit one of the fertilizer storage facilities.
Farmers who have been unable to secure fertilizer for their crops due to shortage were turned away empty-handed from storage facilities today as well.
The government should know to have a more systematic procedure in place to distribute the fertilizer and prevent conflict between farmers and officials. The Fertilizer Corporation also has a responsibility to inform the government of the need. They are the ones who bring it in, they are the ones who stock it. The Fertilizer Corporation has a responsibility too. They said the ship would arrive in Sri Lanka by the 6th and the fertilizer will be distributed. If it takes another 10 days, then the fertilizer will only arrive in Ampara after the 20th or the 25th. The bigwigs are leaving you here while they give us the slip. We are not coming here to fight with them. We are coming here to find out what the situation is, because we have to go back and answer to the farmers.
It would play out like a comedy if it wasn't so tragic. Unfortunately, this is the food security of Sri Lanka that we are talking about. Already, Sri Lanka has one of the highest food costs in the entire South Asian region. And now the farmers are unable to produce the rice that the country needs, the staple. What do the authorities have to say about this? We spoke to the chairman of Lakpohara, Roshan Waduge, and the chairman of Colombo Commercial Fertilizers, Chaminda Lienage. These are the two state-owned fertilizer companies. They visited the Newsfirst Center this evening and spoke to Lakmal Kirindigala from the Newsfirst team.
What is the truth of this situation? Is there a shortage? I am thankful to Sirasa TV for reporting on timely issues such as this. As the two state-owned fertilizer companies, we have about 10,000 tons of urea, and if you count other varieties of fertilizer, we have a cumulative total of about 25,000 tons. A team of 52 people visited the Anuradhapura district last week, and we did not encounter a shortage of fertilizer as described by the two farmers. If there is a shortage of any kind, we will intervene. Are you saying that what they said was false? I will not say that it is false, but a team of 52 people, including myself, visited Anuradhapura last week and we did not encounter such a situation. However, if there is a shortage of some sort, then we will take action to resolve it immediately. If there is no shortage, why are they saying this? If the two farmers are indeed from Rajangane, then all I can say is that I made inquiries yesterday as well, and in the 4 storage facilities of commercial fertilizers alone, we have 873 tons of urea. I reject the allegation that fertilizer is not being distributed. But we saw what happened in Ampara. The farmers were turned away. Yes, but we have 125 tons that will be sent to Ampara tomorrow and 250 tons that will be sent to Ampara together with Lakpohara. So there is a shortage. I do not know if you can call it a shortage because I am unaware of the individual locations where this situation has arisen. We will distribute what we have extremely quickly.
Faisal Mustafa, the Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government, says that politicians have not voted for amendments to the Local Government Elections Act due to their ethnic bias. Now, the Minister expressed these views during a media briefing following the passage of the Act in Parliament today.
The Local Government Elections Act received 137 votes for and 49 votes against. 8 MPs abstained from voting. An amendment had been introduced to the bill on the subject of multi-representative wards. Several government ministers, including Rauf Hakim, abstained from voting in opposition to the amendment.
There is a great risk that an amendment that has not been gazetted and that is not in the draft today will be introduced to ensure that if a certain party or independent group wins the most votes in a multi-member ward, then it will claim all the seats in that ward. This violates the constitution and the standing orders. This is what is being done.
All of us as party leaders should be ready to analyze the results soon after the elections and present the necessary amendments within 2 weeks. We cannot let the local government elections be postponed because of this. If we are to hold it now, then we are able to do it without having to go to court. What you suspect may not happen. There may be other shortcomings. We will only understand this after it is implemented.
The other matter is whether amendments will be introduced in committee stage. We have submitted 2 amendments. We reached a consensus. If amendments are necessary in committee, then we will withdraw it. If we do not adopt the amendments recommended by the Elections Commission in Parliament today, then we will not be able to hold elections for local government authorities with multi-member wards.
The amendment that has been presented now is that previously if party A won the most votes and if B and C were second and third, they would receive a seat each. What is being proposed is that if A wins the most votes, A will receive all 3 seats.
By having the multi-member electorates instead of single electorates, it will violate the rights of several parties to appoint their candidates. By giving it to one party, we will deprive the fundamental right of democracy. This is completely wrong and I believe that it must not be done.
This is what was approved by Cabinet. This cannot be changed now.
Minister Provincial Councils and Local Government Faisal Mustafa convened a media briefing last evening.
We know that we presented a bill regarding women's representation. If a political party receives less than 20% and when more than 3 members are elected, we presented an amendment that in this event, the legal provisions for compulsory women's representation will not apply. There was a problem with the single translation. After it was signed by the Speaker, advice was given by the Attorney General that it must be amended. In the midst of this, the Chairman of the Elections Commission sought a clarification over an uncertainty with the multi-member wards since the bill on women's representation had been gazetted. We had to include this request in the committee stage. If not, we would have had to postpone the election further. I presented the report to Cabinet and all the Cabinet members approved the policy decision taken by the government and on the matter of multi-member wards.
Now, following the budget debate in Parliament yesterday, several MPs shared their views on this issue.
There are places like Matakulia in my electorate of Colombo North which are multi-member wards. In such instances, the expectation is that if it is 2 members or 3 members, one will be Sinhalese, one will be Tamil and one will be Muslim, or one Sinhalese and one Tamil, or one Sinhalese and one Muslim. But the parties have not done this. In some wards, both are Sinhalese, while in others, both are Muslim or Tamil. This cannot be done. We are hurt by this.
There was a difference in one word in the Act that came before the Speaker for his signature. The bill was introduced only to amend this one word, but afterwards they secretly included other provisions as well. This is what we oppose. The Attorney General had noted that a 2/3 majority is required for such provisions. But this bill did not receive a 2/3 majority. It was adopted without a 2/3 majority.
Usually in committee stage, only matters related to the content of the bill are taken up. But in this case, they have introduced completely new provisions to the bill. We oppose this. It is in violation of the standing orders and it is in violation of the Constitution too. We asked the Speaker not to allow such actions. He asked the Attorney General and the Attorney General said it can be done with a 2/3 majority. Following that decision, this was brought in on the wishes of the Prime Minister, although several ministers had expressed their disagreement. This is an undemocratic amendment. They have introduced an amendment that allows candidates defeated in multi-member wards to be elected. The Prime Minister is the one who leads the government, so this could not have been done unbeknownst to him. It has been done to steal our seats for UNPers who will be defeated.
All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. This is an excerpt from Article 1 of the UDHR or Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Today marks World Human Rights Day.
We stand today at the threshold of a great event, both in the life of the United Nations and in the life of mankind.
Human Rights Day is observed by the international community every year on the 10th of December. It commemorates the day in 1948 the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Issuing a message to mark the day, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Prince Zaid Rad Al Hussein notes that, quote, "The universality of rights is being contested across much of the world. It is under broad assault from terrorists, authoritarian leaders and populists who seem only too willing to sacrifice in varying degrees in the rights of others for the sake of power," unquote. He also notes that if we let our commitment to uphold human rights drift, if we turn aside when they are abused, they will slowly shrivel and die. If that happens, the cost in human life and misery will be immense and the whole humanity will pay a heavy price, unquote. Since 2009, Sri Lanka has had a rocky relationship with international human rights bodies. However, since the current government came into power in 2015, the situation has seen a significant improvement. Under the current administration, Sri Lanka co-sponsored a UN human rights resolution in 2015 which laid out several commitments.
The human rights situation in Sri Lanka today is certainly a lot better than what it was before the change of government in 2015. Those in charge of and those responsible for the strengthening, the protection of human rights need to be in the know and need to take effective action. And indeed, it is implementation which seems to be the biggest challenge. Furthermore, we have made considerable promises and commitments at the international level, in particular at the United Nations Human Rights Council in respect of mechanisms for transitional justice. The Office of Missing Persons apart, there doesn't seem to be any movement on any of the others. We need to move fast on all of these things. We need to move fast with regard to the Prevention of Terrorism Act. We need to move fast with regard to torture. We need to move fast with regard to investigating into the allegations of extrajudicial killings. All of these things have to be done. So, whilst the environment is a lot better to what obtained before 2015, we certainly have a lot more that has to be done and a lot more that could be done.
Now, the 9th Representatives Conference of the SLFP-affiliated Sri Lanka Nidas Sevaka Sangamaya was held in Yakiyantota yesterday.
While the SLFP is also a partner in the government, the economy is being steered by the UNP. So we are being made to fight against the politics of the UNP. In this process, it is possible that confrontations will take place. They are going to lay their hands on the Provident Fund. The budget notes that EPF funds will be invested and that a tax of 10% will be placed on these investments. This time around, it has been increased to 14% through the budget. I tried as much as I could to call on the government to stop this, but I could not do it. People who promised to speak on this in Parliament did not bring it up. I received a call from the Secretary at the Ministry of Labour yesterday. Now they are trying to steal 14% of the 100,000 or 200,000 or whatever amount that we will receive when we retire. I believe that if they are going to lay their hands on the money that has been saved for our twilight years after more than 20 years of hard work, then we must take to the streets. This is our money, not anyone else's. This is not the government's money. We have given them enough money which they can use to invest, do business or anything else. But when we are going to withdraw that money when we are 55 or 60, it must be returned to us. If they are taking 14% of it, then it is a theft.
Now, Newsfirst made inquiries in this regard from Minister of Labour W.D.J. Senviratne. He noted that the proposal was included in the budget and has been adopted in spite of his opposition towards it. The minister added that workers too have registered their protest with him. And fortunately, that's a wrap of Primetime News at 9. If you are in the vicinity, we are broadcasting live from the Echelon Square where the Newsfirst Christmas Centre is set up. We will be having our 10 o'clock and 10:30 primetime news bulletins on Sirius TV and Shakti TV being broadcast from here as well. So if you are in the vicinity of the Echelon Square, do pop over. We have the Newsfirst as well as the SFM and Legend teams that are operating here. We will be here until the 29th of this month. Unfortunately, that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. I'm Ramesh Dugal Bandara. Good night and take care.